Is there any one of us who hasn't felt some sense of impending danger on a rare occasion? Like boarding an airplane or riding an elevator, maybe even walking down a quiet street. Most of the time, we ignore those uncomfortable moments, and most of the time, nothing happens. Eileen Freeman had one of those moments. She paid attention. On any given day, Eileen, a sister in the Episcopal Church, can be found practicing her faith. Although her devotion is deep, it was an experience years earlier that would hasten her conversion. It was on a sunny afternoon in New York City when Eileen, then a young college student, was literally stopped in her tracks by a strange sensation that would alter the course of her destiny. That day, she was headed for an important meeting with a fellow student living in Harlem.
The two of us had been very much involved in everything from political protests to underground masses. And I had an appointment to meet with him, and we were going to discuss some very pressing issues, I'm sure.
But the meeting would never take place.
As I got to his apartment building and started up the steps, I suddenly felt a hand on my shoulder, and it seemed to pull me back off the first step. And even though it was broad daylight, I was concerned, so I looked around, and there was nobody there.
Convinced her mind was playing tricks, Eileen again tried to enter the building.
And this time, the hand on my shoulder actually jerked me back. And at the same time, I heard a voice in my ear, and the voice said, "It would not be wise for you to go in there just now." I didn't know what to do.
Startled and confused, Eileen ran into a nearby church to quietly consider the strange message and what it might mean. Then she heard the sirens.
I went to the church door, and across the street in front of my friend's apartment building were fire engines, police cars, ambulance. And I was absolutely astonished. I had no idea what was going on.
In the chaos of the moment, police turned Eileen away from the building. Later, she telephoned her friend to explain why she never made the meeting.
He said to me, "Was that exactly when you were coming?" And I said, "Well, yes." And he said, "There was a murder that took place in the elevator at just about that time." Now, there was only one elevator in this small apartment building. It would have been the elevator I would have had to take. And it was that angelic message, I believe, that saved me from being murdered that day.
Was it divine intervention or simply an intuitive sixth sense that kept Eileen from a possible tragic fate? Psychologists will say what really matters is what you believe.
I think angels are always whispering in our ear, if you will, but many people, I believe, are not listening, don't want to listen, don't believe that it's possible that we could have help from the spiritual world.
Since her experience, Eileen Freeman has spent years compiling real-life stories of angelic visitations, which are detailed in her book, Touched by Angels.